Hey, I'm Zach,
And I'm Jesse.
and you're watching Tesla Time News
Episode 49.
on Now You Know.
All right, so first story here, Autopilot 2.5.
Wait, I know I have Autopilot 1 in Sparky, and Autopilot 2 is out in all the new cars. So what's 2.5?
So 2.5 is just a small tweak to the Autopilot hardware
Oh, the hardware.
that they're now rolling out.
Oh, so wait, they're putting different computers in the new cars?
Not exactly.
Just enhanced,
Slightly more systems, slightly more enhanced.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people are getting upset about this because they're saying, well, I waited and I bought the
latest and
hard,
greatest.
yeah, the 2.0 hardware, and I thought that was going to get me to full autonomy.
Well, so I guess according to Tesla, it will.
Basically, what Tesla is saying is that the hardware 2.0 should get you to full autonomy. But if it can't, they will upgrade you to 2.5 for free.
Oh, so there's nothing to complain about.
It doesn't seem like there's too much to complain about.
Yeah, you're gonna get it either way. So Tesla said, however, we still expect to achieve full self-driving capability with safety more than twice as good as the average human driver without making any hardware changes to hardware 2.0. If this does not turn out to be the case, which we think is highly unlikely, we will upgrade customers to the 2.5 computer at no cost.
So I think a lot of people are they don't like having 2.0 when there's 2.5. And so here's a quote again from Tesla. The internal name hardware 2.5 is an overstatement, and instead it should be called something more like hardware 2.1. This hardware set has some added computing and wiring redundancy, which very slightly improves reliability, but it does not have an additional Pascal GPU.
Oh, I see. So it basically is just some, maybe a little extra board or an extra chip or something, but it's not a major it's not like a double the computing power.
It's not a completely different computer. It's just slightly different.
So Cruise Automation is a company that GM bought a little while ago, and it's a company that does autonomous driving, right? And it's kind of like an Uber with autonomous driving. Really cool. We saw some bolts when we were out in San Francisco. So they launched their San Francisco only app for their employees as kind of a test recently. And so what you're seeing here are employees getting into the car, and it's an autonomously driven car. Even though you're seeing a driver here, this driver is only there because of the law. He's just sitting there quietly, making sure that nothing goes wrong. But basically, about 10% of the Cruise Automation employees are able to use this app. And they have so many people wanting to use it, they actually had to create a waiting list.
And so this is available 7 days a week, 16 to 24 hours a day. There are a lot of extra sensors on this car compared to some of the Teslas, for one.
Yeah, there's a big thing sticking up on the top, which must be, I assume, some LiDAR.
There's 2 LiDAR pucks up there. There's definitely some more cameras and LiDAR in other places on the car. So there's a lot of sensors going on. They're all driving around in Bolts. So, all electric. I'm pretty excited about this.
Me too. Yeah, because San Francisco is not an easy place to drive.
No.
So this is really cool to see how they, what kind of data they get out of this. Right. Faraday Future has some problems, and Lucid Air is on track.
Yes. So Faraday Future has had
This isn't the first bad news.
This isn't the first bad news from Faraday Future, unfortunately.
Yeah, they had plans to build a $1 billion plant on the outskirts of Las Vegas, and that looks like it's been scrapped.
Scrapping those plans.
Yeah, that's kind of sad. It sounds like the Chinese tech billionaire Jia Yuting, who is the major funder of the company, he's had some problems back in China where a Shanghai court has frozen some of his assets.
So they're not doing too good. They're looking for some already established factories instead of building their own.
Although I do hear that the Faraday Future FF91 is still expected to come out at the end of 2018.
I didn't believe that back when they announced it.
That's true.
There's been no good news since then.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say
no to that.
Know.
Lucid Motors, though, on the other hand, has some good info.
They have a plan for a $700 million plant in Arizona, in Casa Grande, which is just south of Phoenix.
And that's still on track, yeah.
Yeah, they're on track, so that's pretty good. Quote here from Lucid. Lucid is proceeding as planned. Our Series D funding activities are going well, and we continue to work on preparations for our factory in Casa Grande.
And the plant could create 2,000 jobs.
Yeah. So
all making electric cars.
That's right.
Right here in the U.S.
Yeah.
This next story is about Tesla bonds.
The name's Bond. Tesla bonds.
Yeah, so this electric car company, you might have heard of it, Tesla. They are ramping up production of the Model 3, and I guess that Elon decided they need a little more cash.
So they hired James Bond.
Well, that would be a good idea.
Steal it.
No.
From a supervillain.
That's a great idea, actually. Have a supervillain support EVs, but no. Actually, the Tesla bonds are bonds that the company is selling, $1.5 billion worth. These would be 5.25% bonds. I think it's a 7 or 8 year term. And the good news is that within this first first week, he sold about $600 million worth.
Okay, so if it's not James Bond, then what are bonds?
So bonds are notes, securities that a company sells, like a bond that you would buy for a federal government bond, right? That it basically has a percentage interest that you'll get back on the bond. It has how long they'll have to repay it, which in this case is 7 or 8 years. Mm-hmm. And then if the company's still afloat in 7 or 8 years, you get paid back with interest. If the company's not afloat, you're out of luck.
I see. Okay.
And so these have been ranked B2, which is almost junk status, by Moody's. Moody's basically thinking that, well, this upstart company, Tesla, may not be able to pay them back.
But a lot of people have already bought them.
Right. So not many people seem to be agreeing with this because they're being snatched up pretty quickly.
Right.
There is a quote here from a credit sites analyst. He says, "We expect the deal will sell and perform well in a hot market, but we see 5.25% as inadequate compensation for the risks of the business and weak asset protection."
Right. So over $600 million have already been raised using the bonds. Now, is one reason that they've done something similar to this in the past?
They have, and they've paid them off early. And so many investors are thinking that if they repeat that, you'll get a really good rate of return because you don't have to wait all those years. You get your money back even quicker.
Right. So a 5% interest rate for 7 years is a lot worse than a 5% interest rate
in 1 year.
In 1 year.
Correct.
So maybe it makes sense to pick up some Tesla bonds.
Maybe. Computers in space!
Yeah, so I mean, we've seen sci-fi movies where there's, computers and you got to calculate, hyperspace and all that. So finally, they're going to bring a hyperspace calculating computer to the International Space Station.
That's right. SpaceX will be bringing this up to the space station. This is a 1 teraflop computer. And what's different about this computer, not only is it powerful, but this is a non-hardened computer. So it's an experiment.
Right. So
what's a hardened computer?
So first of all, this isn't really a hyperspace computer, which is sad. But usually a computer that's brought up to the International Space Station or anything that goes on, anything in space is... takes a lot of extra precautions to make sure that it doesn't fail. Okay. Because usually it's so expensive to launch something into space.
And it'll be up there forever
be up there forever, and you can't go up and fix it.
Gotcha.
That's kind of, that's tough.
But what, hardened from what?
Hardened from, space, radiation mostly. Oh. Basically what they want to test is bring a supercomputer up into space that hasn't been hardened, because that's a lot more expensive and it makes the computer a lot slower. Oh. Bring up this 1 teraflop supercomputer, and
see what happens. Interesting. I'm kind of surprised they haven't tried this before.
It does seem kind of funny, but I mean, I suppose with space being what it is, it's a little too expensive to be just. Oh, you think you'd bring up like an iPhone?
Yeah. See if it works.
I mean, not that you'd get signal, but you could try it. Yeah. You can still play Flappy Bird.
So there's this car called the Model 3. I don't know if you're interested in it at all, but we have a few little bits and pieces here.
Yes, there's...
Are you interested?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
I think everyone here is super interested.
Oh.
The Model 3, probably the most exciting car to come on the market for the past, I don't know, since the Model T, I would say.
Well, so this is a video clip of investor Bill Lee. He's one of the early investors in Tesla, so he's driving his Model 3 in autopilot.
Nice. So... we know it can happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a long video or anything, but at least we know that it seems to work. So it's already got it. Because remember, at the Model 3 delivery event, they didn't turn on autopilot because they said it wasn't ready. So now it's ready.
Apparently it's ready.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Also, here is a photo of the white interior, which we didn't even know was going to be a possibility. I don't think this is going to be something you can choose early on, but perhaps in the second or third opening of the configurator, you'll be able to choose the white interior. So this is what it looks like. Also, just more pictures of the Model 3. I mean, why not, right?
This is a very, very beautiful car.
You want to see all the different possibilities. I mean, because now you can basically get it in a whole host of different colors with a couple different tires.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is really cool. A couple different wheels. Oh, and speaking of seeing it,
yes,
there's a camera in the Model 3 that I didn't spot when we were doing our test drive, probably because I was so excited.
Outward, it's facing, so you can see the people behind you.
It's up in the right above the rear view mirror right here, and it's looking at not only the driver, but I guess the entire cabin. My guess is that it's not, so supposedly according to Tesla, it's not turned on yet, so it's not actually being used in anything. But I think eventually it would look at the driver to see if they are doing the appropriate things for autopilot.
That's very interesting.
That's my conjecture.
The Nissan Leaf has had some specs leaked. So the new Nissan Leaf we were very excited about in terms of its range.
So Auto by Tel is a website, and I guess for just a few hours the specs were leaked to the site and then they got taken down. So this is not by any means for sure. This is just still conjecture. But it seems that there's a 40 kilowatt hour base battery pack for $29,900. That will give you 147 horsepower, which is 236 feet-pound of torque. There's also going to be the SV version for $32,000 and the SL version for $36,000. So the base model of 40 kilowatt hour battery should give you a range of about
165 miles or 265 kilometers, which is more than what a normal Leaf has now. A lot more. I think a 2016 Nissan Leaf is around 100 miles of range.
So that's a lot more. That's 60% more range.
It is, but it's not what we were looking for, which is a plus 200 mile range.
Okay, so you can get a 60 kilowatt hour battery pack according to the leaked documents, which would give you expected 200 plus mile range.
Right, but we don't know exactly how much that's going to be.
We don't. And we also got a little clip here of, of what the new Leaf is going to look like, but still we're excited because we haven't really seen it up close and personal.
Right. All right, so every week we are always looking for new electric cars.
Yes.
And this week we've found two of them. Let's start with the first one. The first one is the Chanje van.
Yeah, that's Chanje with the J.
Yes, and it's got a really catchy name. I think you're going to really like it.
Yeah.
It's called the V8070.
No, it's much more sexy than that. It's the V8070.
The V8070. This is a huge van. It has 6,000 pounds of payload capacity.
Yeah.
It's all electric. It gets 50 miles per gallon equivalent fuel economy in city and highway driving, and it gets a 70-mile range.
Wow, 70 miles, that's enough to do pretty much everything you need to do in a city.
Right, so this is definitely an urban truck.
This is great for like UPS and FedEx and delivery
all
trucks.
All sorts of businesses, yeah, and this is a big truck.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of benefits to this.
Yeah.
So first of all, it improves the air quality.
Right, because I mean, a diesel truck is going to make 18% of all greenhouse gas emissions from the transportation sector nationwide. That's as much CO2 emissions as 20 acres of U.S. forest would absorb in 1 year coming from one of these trucks.
Right. Not just air pollution, but also noise pollution in cities, neighborhoods.
Oh my gosh, think about that.
And along roadways. Bigger trucks, the big diesel trucks, are loud. They're
noisy. This is what the V8070 sounds like pulling out from your door. Chanje is a company made up of a lot of ex-Tesla executives, I want to point out, and it will introduce its first vehicle in the last quarter of 2017. It says it'll be the first company in North America able to deliver large-scale fleets of commercial electric trucks immediately, but we do want to parse that a little bit. It's currently making all of its vehicles in a 3.8 million square foot factory in Hangzhou, China. So it's looking to build an American-based factory. I can't imagine that that's going to happen anytime as fast as they're making it sound like it's going to happen.
It's true.
So it sounds like the first deliveries will have to come from the Chinese factory.
Yeah.
Also, they're partnering with Ryder so that they will do all of their service and maintenance, which I think is pretty smart of them.
Yeah, because I mean, that's a well-established trucking company.
Now, this next electric vehicle that we're going to tell you about is also really cool.
Yes. So this is the Bollinger B1 SUV.
Now, the B1, that just rolls off the tongue.
It's like the B1 bomber.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, silent.
So, yeah.
And deadly.
It does look like this truck could be deadly. This this is not available yet. You can put $1,000 down to get on the list, and I've heard that thousands of people are already doing that.
Yes.
They had their reveal event the day before the Model 3 reveal event, which I think is why we didn't pick up on the story until now.
Didn't hear about it. It was lost in
the Model 3 shuffle.
The cacophony of Model 3 news.
Yeah, so they're going to deliver this in early 2019 is what they say. But check this out.
Yeah, this thing looks like an electric tank.
Yeah.
I mean, it's built like a tank.
Yeah, I mean, you can put a 12-inch wide board that is 14 feet long down the middle of this thing. And how can you do that?
There's a hole that runs the entire stretch of the entire cabin.
I would have killed for this car years ago.
This is so cool.
You go pick up some 2x4s or whatever and just slide them all right in the car.
This is, when I was imagining the Tesla pickup truck, this is really close to what I was imagining. A beefy, cool looking, freaking awesome thing.
Yeah.
It's got power outlets so you can plug in. They've run a table saw off of the battery pack.
So it's got 2 motors, so you get all-wheel drive. So that's 270 kilowatts or 360 horsepower, which is 472 foot-pounds of torque. Now, to put that in perspective, Sparky here has 762 horsepower. So
it's true,
but we can't fit a 14-foot board in you.
No, we can't fit 14-foot anything in you.
What you can fit in this 3,900-pound 4-seat truck is 6,000 pounds of payload. It's a Class 3 truck.
Yes. Well, it's also a Class 3 truck that can go 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds.
That's amazing.
So that's pretty cool.
Check out these awesome giant knobbly tires, which are on 17-inch alloys. It gives the 150-inch long utility truck a really cool look.
Yes. I mean, this looks somewhere between like a Jeep and
a Bronco, an old Ford Bronco.
Oh, really?
I think so.
I mean, I think it almost looks like a Hummer.
No, you're right. An H1 Hummer.
Like a Humvee kind of look. Like it's just
like if a Hummer and a Bronco had a baby that was electric. It has self-leveling hydro-pneumatic suspension, and it can provide 15.5 inches of ground clearance. So this would be so fun to take off-roading.
It's true.
The frame and the platform of the B1 are constructed of aluminum, as are the body panels, and so that gives it high strength. And the frame for the cabin is made of high-strength steel. The truck has a standard 240-volt level 2 charging port on its left front fender, and at the moment, on its right front fender, it's got a CHAdeMO DC charging port.
Okay, so it can do quick charging and standard charging. So basically every electric car besides a Tesla.
Yeah. Now, this is currently made in upstate New York. We are probably going to be going to visit the plant soon.
Hopefully.
And we will hopefully report back soon with some more interesting tidbits of information. But if you are interested, head over to Bollinger.com so that you can get on the list for the truck. So Mercedes was doing a little promotional publicity recently, and they tweeted something out, and the tweet went like this.
With electric cars increasing in popularity, we'd love to know if you would consider switching to an electric car.
Okay, so that's cool,
Yeah.
right? Guess what happened when that tweet went out?
I don't think...
Let me show you. This is what happened.
Already switched, thanks. Driving at Tesla Motors since 2 years. No plans to change to a Mercedes, smiley face. I already switched. I've been driving a Model S since 2014. I'll never go back to fossil cars. Already switched to Tesla. Never buying another ICE car. EVs are a different planet of performance. Paradigm shift. Yes, Mercedes B250 gas owner. Deposit down on Model 3. I asked Mercedes-Benz dealer about electric, and he said, not our market. I created a word cloud of all 300 reactions to your question. 63 times already, 39 times Tesla, 118 times Tesla Motors.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, that's...
Note to self.
Ouch.
Don't mention that again.
Yeah, I mean, they should know they're being outsold by Tesla in that segment. So
yeah. What did they think the answer was going to be?
What were you thinking?
All right, so if you might remember that recently we got another Model S for kids, and we said, hey, we can't use it. Let's give it away.
Yep.
We've got a winner.
We have a winner?
We reached into the hat and we pulled out Josh Bright, who is our winner in North Carolina. And congratulations, Josh. You are going to be the happy owner of a Model S for kids. Hope you guys enjoy it. And please remember to send us some pictures or videos so that we can share them with everybody.
All right, so our next story is a Patreon bonus story. So basically what this means is it's a Patreon exclusive story. If you want to check it out, you can go over to our Patreon page. You can support us for as little as $1 a month, and it really helps support the news. Without our Patreons, we would have stopped doing this a while ago because we would not have been able to afford it. And, you know, we're going to be doing all sorts of awesome things. Giveaways and perks. And we're going to be traveling to see the semi-unveiling and stuff like that.
So go over there now, watch the story, and support us. All right, so every week we give a big shout out to our Patreon supporters. And this week we are shouting out to
Tawi Rodriguez,
Bill Fitch,
Marcus Leach,
Dominique Sotorescu,
and Zoltan Dorogi.
Thank you so much, Patreon supporters. You make this show possible. That's why we are shouting out your names, because you're so important to what we do.
Yes.
Without you, we would not be here. So every week we like to read off a viewer comment that really kind of catches us. And this week, here is our comment, but I think we should have it read by our new app.
Yes, I got a brand new one this week, so we're going to check it out.
Nice.
Check it out.
Hello, Zach and Jesse.
Hey, Zach and Jesse. This week's comment comes from Draktan12, and he said,
I think that Elon waited to announce his plans to make a Hyperloop company to make sure he had some serious competition so that things can progress faster.
and to avoid getting his company split due to monopoly laws.
Woo!
Nice.
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
Didn't think of that.
That's so smart because
I love it when you guys come up with stuff like this. This is really good point. I mean, first of all, the monopoly point. Yeah, if he was the only one in the world making hyperloops, then you'd be able to stop him by saying, well, you're a monopoly.
Right. I mean, well, and also no one else would even start. Because, I mean, anything that Elon Musk is starting now, everyone is trying to catch up to what Tesla is doing, trying to catch up to what SpaceX is doing. And, it was really smart to say, here's a great idea, everybody. I'm not going to do it. You guys better do it. And then he can come back and be like, let's compete. Let's,
because he's all about competition. He's talked about that
competition.
many times. Friendly competition is one of the best ways to get the best results. So, and it's great. He's not trying to crush them or put them out of business. He's like, maybe I can do it faster than you guys, or better, or something.
So I think that's a really good point.
Really exciting.
So,
also, I mean, who knows? Maybe he could actually pair up with some of these companies at some point. You know,
Yeah. So, I mean, remember, if you're going to post a comment, if it's a good one, we might actually read it. So,
That's right.
How about don't be a jerk in the comment section, and maybe we'll talk about what you think.
All right, so one of my favorite topics every week is superchargers.
Yes. We have wonderful fans
Yes, we
that
do.
are just constantly recording their own experiences at supercharging
Yeah,
stations.
like this fan right here.
Yeah.
Hello, Zach and Jesse. We are here at the Hutchinson Parkway Supercharger. It is a 4-stall, I think. It's got a few ice cars parking in the spots, but that's okay. They don't know. So I'm going to give this one 2 stars because there's trash all over the place. All right. Thanks for watching.
That's just Bobby. I'm just kidding.
That was weird. I was like, wait a minute. I
think
guy.
Bobby didn't even know there was a supercharger
No,
there.
I don't think. I mean, 4 stalls. I think.
I think.
But
these are good supercharger reviews.
Yes.
Check these out.
Hello, Zach and Jesse from Taiwan. We are at the Taichung Shizheng Supercharger Station. Have 8 stalls here. It's located right in the middle of Taichung City with some shopping malls, restaurants, and apartment buildings, so very convenient. Good place to stop if you're on your way to Kaohsiung or going north to Taipei. Thanks for everything. Great show.
So this is the Brussels supercharger. It's got 8 stalls, and we're outside a large hotel. So we're going to go in and have a coffee or something of that nature.
Hey guys, we're here at the Hope, British Columbia Superchargers. It's normally a much better view around here, but with the forest fires, it's nothing but smoke. I just stopped in and didn't know they were doing anything, but looks like they're doing some construction. And that nice man there in the hard hat said they're adding 4 more spaces. That'll be a total of 10. And they said that they'll have capacity for 4 more. This isn't the best location for a supercharger. There is hotels and, adult drinks. There's restaurants within walking distance, but this is pretty much the smallest 10 you'll ever see. Have a great one.
We have arrived at our destination in Key West, Florida, and we are staying at the lovely Orchid Inn that has a Tesla charger. Fantastic. All the way, no gas.
wow. Awesome. Thank you so much for your awesome supercharger reviews.
Our first one from Taiwan.
That's so cool. There's only 3 superchargers in Taiwan,
and
which means that you've got 1/3.
Right.
That's better than we've done in terms of American superchargers. So hey, way to go.
That's
good
awesome.
work.
Yeah, you can cover all of Taiwan. So let's cover what's going on right now in the supercharger world. Permitted this week
In Rochester, Minnesota,
permitted in Salzburg Walls, Austria.
in Carlsbad, California.
Oak Creek, Wisconsin.
Slavinsky Brod, Croatia.
And now under construction in
Burlington, New Jersey.
Dixon, Tennessee.
And Salinas, California.
And open.
So number 930 in the world and 324 in Europe is the 10-stall in Trento, Italy.
931 in the world, 380 in the USA is the 8-stall in Steele, Alabama.
Number 932 in the world and 381 in the USA is the 8-stall Rock Springs, Wyoming supercharger.
And number 13 in Australia is the 4-stall in Brisbane, Australia.
Number 382 in the USA is an 8-stall in Pinellas Park, Florida.
And number 383 in the USA is the 10-stall in Monterey, California.
And the 28th supercharger location in Canada is the 8-stall Edmonton, Alberta, Canada supercharger.
That's a lot of superchargers.
There's that. You know what that means?
What does that mean?
That means that there's more chance for you to go out there and find your own exclusive supercharger.
That's right.
So just keep in mind, we want it landscape because that is the way that this show. Look at that.
Yep.
It just fits so nicely.
Yep. Landscape, short and sweet.
Yep.
Show us all the amenities. Make sure the wind isn't a problem.
Yep.
And yeah, we'd love to see your videos, so keep them coming.
This week, I want to talk about a video that we've done before in the past.
Yeah, just came out last week.
And so not too far in the past.
Yeah, and we need your help with this one.
Yes.
So this is a very short letter that we did for our Governor Baker here in Massachusetts, trying to convince him to get the Hyperloop and the Boring Company to be, we'd like to be connected to the rest of the East Coast and the West Coast. Yep. So we wrote a letter. We need you. Tweet it at him.
Yeah.
Tweet it at Mass Governor and let him know that you support it as well. More of us that are signing this letter, so to speak, and sending it off, the more chance it'll get listened to.
Yep.
Right? That's why we did it.
Lastly, if you're thinking about getting a Tesla, either a Model S or a Model X, you can use our referral code.
So what do you get off your car? Like, what do you get if you use our referral code?
So what you're going to get is $1,000 off of your purchase.
Nice.
You're going to get unlimited supercharging for the life of your vehicle.
That's pretty good.
It's a pretty good deal.
There's something else that you should get.
Lastly, if you use our referral code, now this is not something offered by Tesla.
Oh.
So if you use our referral code and you live somewhere in the continental United States, we will drive to your house. We will drive this next generation Roadster to your house, probably along with a few other Tesla cars like a Model 3 and a Model X, and depending on if we have a Model 3 at the time. And we'll come to your house and we'll get to go for a test ride in the next generation Roadster.
Who came up with that idea?
You did, actually.
Oh.
Because we said it on YouTube, we have to do it because that's the rules. Just kidding, they're not, but we are going to do it anyway. So if you're thinking about getting a Tesla, use our referral code, go for a ride in a next generation Roadster. If you don't live in the US, we're super sorry, but hey, you do get those other cool perks.
That's true.
Just because, unless the Roadster can...
If it's amphibious.
If it's an amphibious Roadster,
we'll come to Europe or Australia or China or
anywhere else in the world. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Now You Know. We come out with it every single week. It's almost been an entire year since we've done it. So thank you so much for watching.
Now you know.